Hello and welcome to the Brasileirao magazine of round 28. Coming up in today's show, Fla-Flu 4-3-5. In the round's explosive derby, Fluminense damaged Flamengo's dream of retaining the Brasileirao. Drowning at the bottom, Santos lose at home in a 6-pointer and sink into the relegation zone. Silverware in sight. After going behind, the Fighting Roosters bounced back and took another step closer to claiming their first league title in half a century. Shiny happy people, and everybody hurts. Plus, lots and lots of goals. It all starts now in the Brasileirao magazine. On King Pele's birthday, Santos took on American Mineiro in the Vila Belmiro, under a lot of pressure and in need of a win to move away from the relegation zone. Diego Tardelli appeared as the starter for the first time under Fabio Carilli. Also up front were Marinho and Lucas Braga. America entered the pitch with Ale, Ademir and Felipe Azevedos in midfield. The coastal club seemed shaky right from the start. João Paulo made a mistake and Ale recovered the ball, quickly centering to Juninho, but the young keeper redeemed himself with a wonderful save. With half-time approaching, the match came to life. Cavicchioli hit a sensational long pass to find Ademir in front of Gian Motta. He beat the midfielder for speed and Motta was forced to stop him. Referee Marcelo Genima Henrique sent off the Santos man, and Ademir converted the penalty to give the Rabbits the lead.
It is 1-0 for the Rabbits here in the Vila Belmiro.
America made it 2-0 after the break. João Paulo failed to clear the ball, and LA took full advantage.
João Paulo could not hold on to the ball.
2-0 for the away side, and Santos in a very tight spot. Despite being a man down, the home side tried to attack. With 75 minutes on the clock, Lucas Braga cut into the middle. He hit a rocket, but Cavicchioli was alert enough to make a clever save. Game over in the Villa, and a crushing defeat in their own backyard left Santos in a very tricky position. 3 points for America was a massive step towards safety. Strugglers Juventud and Ceará were head-to-head in the Alfredo Jaconi. Jair Ventura was in charge for his first game as both clubs were in danger of relegation to Serie B. Juve hadn't won since the 3-0 victory against Santos in round 22. Since then they picked up 2 draws and 3 losses, resulting in the dismissal of Marquinhos Santos. The team from the northeast were also in a slump. Since Thiago Nunes was signed up, the Vozão had won just 1-8, and that was against bottom club Chapecoense. Juve started the game on the attack. Capixaba cut into the middle and found Sorriso, but João Ricardo pulled off a fantastic save. The pressure continued as Juve kept going, this time down the right. Jadson finished from outside the box, but was stopped by João Ricardo. The story remained the same in the second half. Another cross from the right and Sorriso headed firmly, but once again João Ricardo did enough to save the Vozão.
Sorriso, what a save from Ceará's keeper João Ricardo once again.
It took Ceará an hour before they created their first opportunity. Mendoza centred from the left and Eric got in a first-time shot, but Douglas had it covered. In the follow-up, Eric tried again, but this time missed the target. In the last chance of the game, Guilherme Castillo tried to surprise the keeper with a corner straight at goal. The ball deflected off Sorriso, but João Ricardo came to the rescue to save Ceará from defeat. 0-0 and a poor result for 2 teams trying to get away from danger. Fluminense locked horns with Flamengo in the legendary Maracanã in one of the biggest derbies in Brazil. Fluminense were looking to close in on the teams in the leading pack. Flamengo still dreamt about the title and couldn't afford to lose. Flu had to make do without club idol FECHA and central defender Nino. Marcao brought in the youngsters Luis Henrique and John Kennedy in the attack. Fla had key players Gabriel Barbosa, Bruno Henrique, Arrascaeta and Pedro all missing. The responsibility for goals rested on the shoulders of 21-year-old Victor Gabriel. The derby got off to a pulsating start. With just 6 minutes on the clock, Andres Pereira took a free kick and sent the ball into the area. Rodrigo Caio got a touch and Mateuzinho belted the ball onto the woodwork. Flu didn't waste their first real chance. John Kennedy was up for this one when he pounced onto the ball in the area. After a nice move from the left, Marlon centred and the 19-year-old smashed the ball past Diego Alves to score the first for Fluminense.
Diego Alves could not hang on to the ball.
At half-time, the Gabriel Barbosa lookalike in the stadium was sure his team would bounce back. Things though didn't go according to plan as Fluminense continued to dominate after the break. Luis Henrique showed his ability in the battle against Hene and hit a spectacular pass between Rodrigo Caio's legs. John Kennedy was in the right place at the right time to score his second in the match. Delirium for the Fluminense fans. Flamengo were back in it when the ball ricocheted off Hene and flew into the net.
And Hene, I think, is going to clean that one. Fortunate with a ricochet.
2-1 and game on in the Maracanã. But Flamengo's joy was short-lived. Marcus Felipe went route 1. Luca won the contest. Gustavo Henrique got into trouble and substitute Abel Hernandez hit a magnificent strike to make sure of the points. A fabulous finish in the Maracanã. 3-1 the final score. A huge win for Fluminense with starlet John Kennedy made all the difference. The result was a real blow to Flamengo's hopes of retaining the title, and Gabriel Barbosa's lookalike was clearly not best pleased. The Arena Castelao was the stage for the match between Copa do Brasil semi-finalists Fortaleza and Atltico Paranaense. With the second legs in the tournament coming up, both teams rested important players such as Felipe Alves and Lucas Crispin for the home team, while Alberto Valentim put out his reserves for the Hurricanes. And the side from Curitiba paid the price. With 40 seconds on the clock, Bruno Miller won the contest and smashed the ball onto Bento's woodwork. In the follow-up, Lucas Lima hit a beauty into the opposite corner. The first goal from the former Palmeiras man for his new club. 6 minutes later, it was 2-0. David tricked his way through before finding Iago Pikachu, who finished with aplomb. Pikachu's 8th goal in the competition. Later, substitute Lucas Crispin replaced the number 22. The midfielder immediately caused problems with a set piece, but missed the target. In his best game for Fortaleza so far, Lucas Lima was on top form. He found Hobson with a great cross, and the striker had the easy job of knocking the ball into the net. The 8th goal from Hobson, 3-0 to Fortaleza, much to the joy of Voivoda.
Hobson behind the defenders, a powerful header to beat Bento.
Atltico tried to pull one back with Canisin, but Marcelo Boecki was not to be beaten. After the corner, Pedro Rocha had a great chance, but it wasn't going to be the Hurricanes' day. A great effort from Boecki. Game over, and Fortaleza look set for their best finish ever in the Brasileirao. The leaders Atletico Mineiro faced Cuiabá in the Mineirao in Belo Horizonte with plenty of fans in the stadium. Cuca sent out his team with Nacho in the middle and Hulk up front. The coach also had the return of Diego Costa on the bench. Jorginho kept the 4-4-2 formation with Clayson and Jennison in attack. In an exciting match, Nathan Silva sent this one back to keeper Everson, but the pair managed to mess up and the ball rolled into the back of the net. What a bizarre way for the Dourados to go in front in Belo Horizonte. But Galo was soon back on level terms. Guilherme Arana beat the defenders with a clever pass, and Keno sent it to Hulk, who tapped the ball into the net. VAR checked for a possible offside, but the goal stood. Hulk's 11th in the Brasileirao, alongside Inter's Yuri Alberto. In stoppage time, Keno and Guilherme Arana created a promising attack on the left. Arana centred and found Jair. The midfielder timed his run perfectly, and Atltico were ahead. Joy in Belo Horizonte. Back from the break, Hulk received a long pass and brushed off two defenders with an amazing bit of trickery. But his effort was stopped by Volta, who prevented a third. Game over, and the win left Atletico Mineiro 11 points ahead of second place Fortaleza. Cuiabá remained in the middle of the table. Internazionale Corinthians clashed swords in the Beira-Rio for a six-pointer as the pair battled for a Libertadores spot. Inter kept the usual lineup with an informed Yuri Alberto up front. Silvinha made changes from a team that had lost in the last round. Gabriel and Vitinho both started. Backed by the fans, Internazionale started the game at full throttle. With 9 minutes on the clock, Patrick centred to Rodrigo Lindoso. The midfielder headed, and Cássio saved his first attempt, but Lindoso struck again. Cássio appeared to have stopped the ball from going in, but Egenilson was there to turn it into the net, and he celebrated. But after a review, the goal was given to Lindoso, as the ball had crossed the line with his effort. The first half was over, but after the break, the Colorado once again went on the attack down the flanks. Yuri Alberto got the ball, turned on Raul Gustavo and finished strongly, only to nail Corinthians' post. The home side looked comfortable until the individual skills from the Musketeers came into play. Gabriel Pereira showed his ability, brushed off Moisés and prodded in a perfect pass to Giuliano, who scored.
Giuliano as the keeper and buries it into the back of the net. The flag stays down on the far side.
The former Internazionale man on target. The goal turned the game on its head. 3 minutes later, Roger Guedes was taken down in the box, leaving the referee in no doubts about the penalty. Fabio Santos kept his cool and put Corinthians ahead. As full-time approached, it looked like the Musketeers would be taking home the points, until substitute Gustavo Maia popped up with a stunning strike to score his first ever goal for the club.
As this effort flies into the back of the net, Cássio is furious!
End of story in Rio Grande do Sul, and a share of the points for two teams competing for a place in next year's Libertadores. Fighting for a spot in next year's Libertadores, Red Bull Bragantino came up against Sao Paulo in the Navi Avichedid. The tricolor was still trying to move away from the relegation zone, but was struggling to do so. The Massabuta paid their opponents more than €60,000 to use Elinho, who's still owned by Sao Paulo. For the tricolor, Rogério Ceni chose Pablo to replace Caleri, who was injured in the game against Corinthians. Red Bull had the ball for more time in the early game and also had more opportunities. With 2 minutes gone, Elinho centred and Artur had space to finish as Volpe did just enough to make the save. The game was going back and forth when the home side had one last effort before half-time. Artur centred and Elinho headed well, but Thiago Volpe was alert to the danger. After the break, Cândido went down the other end and eventually found a way through to the net. The player thought he scored, but VAR came in to deny the Red Bull man. But the number 29's persistence would pay off in the end. Artur took the corner and sent the ball in perfectly. Cândido beat the defenders and gave Volpe no chance. Sao Paulo tried to get the equaliser with Victor Bueno and Marquinhos, but Clayton was on top form to make sure that the ball stayed out and grab all 3 points for his team. The result left Red Bull close to a spot in the top 4. Sao Paulo now have Rogério Ceni in charge, but the change of coach has yet to bring the desired effect. Bahia faced bottom side Chapecoense in the Arena Fonte Nova. A win for the home side would mean leaving the relegation zone. Chape have little hope of remaining in the top flight, but wanted to avoid being the team with the worst campaign ever in the Brasileirao. Couto Ferreira set out his side with two strikers, Rodallega and Gilberto, who scored 15 times between them in the competition. Chape had Mikey up front. Despite the team's terrible campaign, the player had scored 4 in the last 6 games. But the match was one-sided from the start, and Bahia were not required to break sweat. With 2 minutes on the clock, Nino Paraíba progressed down the right and Gilberto won the contest to shoot into the corner and open up the scoring. The away side just couldn't stop Bahia's attacks. Mateus Bahia centred with perfection to the far post, and Hai was there to score the second with only 20 minutes on the clock. After the break, Luis Octavio got on the end of a corner and headed in to make it 3-0. Chape had one big chance near the end. Dennis struck from outside the area, and this produced a top save from Danilo Fernandes. Game over in the Fonte Nova, a perfect match for Bahia as they climbed out of the drop zone. Serie B bound Chapecoense have just one win in 28 outings. Atltico Goianiense clashed swords with Gremio on Monday evening in an important match for both teams. The Dragons were on a high after beating the leaders in the last round. Gremio had seen off Juventud on Mancini's debut and were really up for this one. Atletico had only one change from a team that defeated Atletico Mineiro. Defensive midfielder Marlon Freitas was back in the starting lineup after an injury that had kept him out of action from the first team for 3 months. Wagner Mancini repeated the same formation from his winning debut and had star players Douglas Costa and Diego Souza in attack. Gremio had been in the relegation zone nearly all season but went all out attack early on. Their first opportunity came from a cross and Thiago Santos came close with a header. The away side continued to press. Gian Piheri pulled off a gorgeous pass to Vishasanti, but his shot was stopped by Fernando Miguel, who did well to prevent a goal from Gremio. Fernando Miguel used his game management skills when he delayed the goal kick, which caused a battle of a chance between the fans. Gremio supporters started to call the Dragons a small team, while the Atletico fans came back by taunting the opposition with Serie B. Despite the pressure from the away side, Atletico struck first. Vanderson failed to clear the deep pass by Eder, and Igor Karius buried the ball into the back of the net.
Perfect pass in the middle. Karius against Vanderson.
1-0 Atletico. After the break, Gremio were determined to get back in it. After a brilliant move, Vishasanti shot well enough but couldn't hit the target. Andre Luiz played the target man and tried to turn away from Paulo Miranda, who grabbed his shirt. A clear penalty. But with complaints from both teams, the official checked out the images. Marlon Freitas converted to double the score for the Dragons. A great return for the hero.
A perfect penalty kick. No chances for Breno.
With the player short and down 2-0, Gremio knew they were in trouble. But the Porto Alegre side had one last go with Luis Fernando, who got himself into a good position but couldn't find a way through the defence, and the outstanding Fernando Miguel. Atletico's fans enjoyed the moment with olays in the stands. Game over in Goiânia. This was Gremio's 14th defeat of the campaign, and time is starting to run out for the Tricolor Gaúcho. Palmeiras were trying to get back to second position in the table and keep pace with leaders Atletico Mineiro as they took on Sport Recife in Sao Paulo. The Lions from the northeast were desperate for the win to take them out of the drop zone. Abel Ferreira had a strong squad to choose from. Danilo replaced the suspended Zé Rafael, and the Greens had a powerful attacking trio of Dudu, Rony and Luis Adriano. Florentin's team had Hernandez on the bench as Luciano Juba came in alongside Leandro Barcia, who replaced Everaldo. And it was the away side that got off to a flyer. After a long pass by Zé Wellington, Juba centred and Barcia smashed the ball home. A beautiful goal from the strugglers in the Allianz Parque, and Barcia's first goal in 5 matches played this year.
The perfect pass, nothing that Everton could do.
Palmeiras responded with 22 minutes on the clock. Sports defenders got it all wrong, and Luis Adriano had a clever shot that was saved by Mailson. 10 minutes later, the striker had another chance with a header from a corner, but the ball was deflected and went wide. Honey advanced on the left and produced a shot that caused problems for Mailson. More pressure from the Greens. After the break, Abel Ferreira brought on Gustavo Scarpa, and the effect was immediate. Scarpa got involved from a corner kick, which Luis Adriano guided in. The much criticised striker then sent a clear message to his detractors.
Another assist for Gustavo Scarpa.
Sports keeper put in a superb performance as he kept Palmeiras at bay. Gustavo Gomes had 2 opportunities in a row, but the Sport number 1 stopped him on both occasions. The energetic Dudu then had a chance, and he came close to putting his team in front. With the momentum on their side, it was just a question of time before they got the breakthrough. Once again, Gustavo Scarpa made the difference, and once again it was from a set piece. William got a touch, and the veteran Felipe Melo came flying in to put the ball home. A great moment for the former Brazil international, and goal number 400 for Palmeiras in the Allianz Parque.
He scores the second one for Palmeiras.
An excellent win for the Greens, who did it the hard way as they moved back to second. 2 defeats in their last 3 has put an end to Sport's mini revival. Our top 3 goals start with this masterpiece from Gustavo Maia. The number 7 was a long way out when he brushed off the defenders and fired in a rocket that Cassio got completely wrong. A superb strike from Gustavo Maia, who's in 3rd place. Our second choice has scored with only 50 seconds on the clock, but what a finish it was. Lucas Lima centred and Pikachu hit the post. Lima then latched onto the rebound and buried the ball into the back of the net. A cracking goal as Fortaleza got things going against Atltico Paranaense.
And it's a beautiful one going to the top corner of Bento. What a start for Fortaleza. A well-built play.
Our top goal in round 28 came from a long pass from Flu's Marcus Felipe. Gustavo Henrique failed to clear, and Abel Hernandez hit a superb shot past Diego Alves to crown a convincing performance from the tricolor.
And just look at this finish. Just curl that ball in. What a match in the Maracanã.
A brilliant goal from Abel Hernandez, our number 1 choice from round 28. The best save in round 28 was all about fast reflexes. After Sorriso's header, João Ricardo pulled off a spectacular stop. This was a great opportunity for Juventud to score, but the Ceará keeper showed what it was all about. João Ricardo with the best save of the round. Fortaleza won their game, secured a spot in the top 4 and moved closer to booking a place in next season's Libertadores. On top of that, they crowned a perfect weekend with some marvellous skill from Ederson. Ability from Fortaleza's Ederson that earned him the Best Skill Award of the round. It's time to take a look at our choice of players and the coach who made our team of the round. In goal, we've gone for João Ricardo of Ceará. At right back, Iago Pikachu from Fortaleza. The 2 central defenders are Felipe Melo of Palmeiras and Ricardo Silva from América Mineiro. At left back, Luan Cândido of Red Bull Bragantino. Our midfield consists of Jadson, Juventud, Lucas Lima, Fortaleza, Ale, América Mineiro, and Jair of Atltico Mineiro. Up front, Ademir of América Mineiro, with John Kennedy of Fluminense. Our manager this round is Marcão from Fluminense. The best player of round 28 was no other than John Kennedy. The Fluminense forward caused all sorts of problems in the derby against arch enemies Flamengo. The teenager hit a brace against the defending league champions, using pace and anticipation to beat Diego Alves. A great win for Flu, thanks to the brilliance of John Kennedy, our player of round 28. With 28 rounds gone, we're now in an exciting stage in the Brasileirao Aquí. Atltico Mineiro continue to lead the way and are 10 points clear of second place Palmeiras. Fortaleza are in third on 48. Flamengo slipped down a place on 46 alongside Bragantino, closely followed by Internazionale. Corinthians and Fluminense are in close pursuit. Looking down the table, Sao Paulo still cannot get out of trouble. Bahia have shown signs of improvement, but the teams who are stuck in the relegation zone are Santos, who have never been relegated, Sport Recife, Gremio and Serie B bound Chapecoense. On the day Pelé, the king of football, turned 81, Santos did not have much to celebrate. After going down at home to Mineiro, the boys from the Villa sank into the relegation zone. Round 29 of the Brasileirao Aquí kicks off on Saturday with Atltico Paranaense facing strugglers Santos. Later in the day is the highly anticipated battle between Flamengo and leaders Atletico Mineiro in the Maracanã, in a match that will have a huge say on the destination of the title. Also on Saturday, Juventud face Bahia and Mineiro clash swords with Fortaleza. On Sunday, Gremio come up against Palmeiras and Ceará take on Fluminense. There's also Sao Paulo and Internazionale at the Morumbi and Sport Recife against Atletico Goianiense in the Arena Pernambuco. The round closes on Monday as Cuiabá face Red Bull and Corinthians lock horns with bottom side Chapecoense. That's it for this week. We hope you're enjoying our coverage of the toughest, most exciting league in the Americas, and we'll be back next week with more action from the Brasileirao.